I never imagined the worst night of my life would start at a birthday dinner. If you're here for a story about love, betrayal, and karma that hit harder than anyone expected, you're in the right place. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you've ever trusted someone who betrayed you. These stories are based on real events and raw emotions, and they might just help someone going through the same heartbreak. Now, let me tell you how I lost the woman I loved, but gained everything she thought she'd keep, because it all started with a single sentence I was never supposed to hear. He's sweet, but he's not a man. I could never love someone like him. That voice, it was my wife. That sentence. It didn't just sting, it destroyed something in me. Hey, before I take you further down this road, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this story if you've ever been lied to by someone you trusted with your whole heart. Our stories are real. We only change the names to protect the people involved. And trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. My name is Miles. I'm 34, and I was married to Elena, 32, for just over 5 years. To everyone around us, we were the perfect match. The grounded university professor and the firebrand real estate agent with old money in her veins and charm that could walk into any room and own it. But what people didn't know was that behind every smile she posted online, behind every "my husband is amazing" caption, she was hiding a completely different life. Her father, Charles Moreno, is a powerful man. Old school, conservative, rich beyond reason. He saw me as a stable, decent man, the type of son-in-law he could trust. He even once told me I was the first man Elena brought home who didn't embarrass him. I used to wear that like a badge of honor. Now, I see it was just another part one was playing in someone else's show. 2 months ago, Charles threw a birthday dinner at his estate. Not a casual get-together. I'm talking catered, wine-paired, black tie kind of thing. Business partners, family, investors, and me, of course, playing host alongside my beautiful, charismatic wife that I stepped away during the dinner to grab another bottle of red from the cellar. But as I passed the patio, I heard laughter, familiar, and then that voice. You don't marry someone like Miles for passion. You marry him so your dad gets off your back. There was that I froze. I couldn't see their faces through the glass, but I heard every word. Her voice was playful, tipsy, too loud to be cautious. Another woman chimed in. I think it was her friend Kayla, but what about Jordan? And then Elena, lowering her voice like it would protect her. Jordan is something else. Miles could never make me feel that way. Laughter again. My hand was still gripping the wine bottle, but the sound of that name, Jordan, kept repeating in my head like a drum. I turned around and walked away. I didn't smash the glass. I didn't confront her. I went back to the table, sat down beside Charles, and pretended I hadn't just heard my entire marriage collapse in a single sentence. That night, she kissed me on the cheek and whispered, "I love you." I didn't say it back. The next morning, I woke up early, earlier than usual. I didn't sleep much, just laid there, staring at the ceiling, wondering if it had always been this way, and I had just been too blind to see it. I made her coffee. She smiled and said, "You spoil me." I almost laughed. I didn't ask who Jordan was. That I already knew. I couldn't confront her until I had the full story. And something told me there was so much more beneath the surface. I started digging. Her iPad was synced to her messages. Rookie mistake. There he was. Jordan P. Hundreds of messages. Gym meetups. Last-minute hotel bookings. Selfies. She called him Jay, sent him heart emojis, told him things she hadn't said to me in years. Photos from a weekend. She claimed she was showing houses out of town. Turns out, she was showing a lot more than real estate. One of the photos made me physically nauseous. Her wearing lingerie I had never seen before, posing in the mirror of a hotel room I recognized from our anniversary trip, but I hadn't been there this time. I screenshotted everything, sent them to a private email, backed it all up on a drive I hid under my office floorboard. I started watching her more carefully. How she always put her phone face down. How she laughed at texts during dinner, then said it was just a client. How she always came back from the gym freshly showered, but somehow with makeup reapplied. Everything was starting to click. The dinners she bailed on, the sudden shift in intimacy, the coldness that crept in after my promotion when I was finally making enough to pull equal weight. I wasn't just losing my wife. I was realizing I'd never truly had her. But the worst part? Everyone, and I mean everyone, thought I was the lucky one. You married up. You're so grounded. Elena needs that. You guys are goals. I wanted to scream. But instead, I waited, because in all that silence, I remembered something Elena once said about her father. If he ever finds out I'm not who he thinks I am, he'll disown me. That's when I realized this wouldn't just be a breakup. This would be a reckoning that I always thought betrayal would hit me in a loud, explosive way, screaming, breaking things, storming out. But this wasn't that kind of story. This was quiet, precise, and soon, I wasn't the only one who knew. I decided to tell Charles, her father, not to tattle, not to win sympathy, and definitely not to manipulate anything. I told him because I respected him, and I knew if the roles were reversed, if he was being deceived like this, he would want the truth that I invited him to coffee. Just the two of us. Neutral ground, that we sat across from each other in this little cafe he liked. Quiet, upscale, private enough for what I was about to say. Sir, I started. This is difficult, and I'm not proud to be the one bringing it to you. But I think you deserve to know what's been going on. I slid a folder across the table. Inside were a few selected screenshots. Not all of them, but enough. I had printed photos, a copy of a hotel receipt charged to our joint account, even a printout of a text exchange between Elena and her friend Kayla, bragging about how dumb I was for still not suspecting anything. He read silently. His expression didn't change. Not once. When he finally spoke, he didn't raise his voice, just said, "How long have you known?" "About a month," I replied. He nodded slowly, closed the folder, and stared out the window for a few long seconds. "Thank you for bringing this to me, Miles," he said. "I always said you were the most decent man she's ever been with." Then he said something I'll never forget. "She may carry my last name, but you carry my respect." He stood, shook my hand, and left. And just like that, the wheels started turning. About a week later, Charles announced a family meeting at his estate. No one knew why. Elena showed up late, smiling, wine in hand, dressed like she was about to host a lifestyle blog shoot. I played along, kept my expression flat. Her mother barely looked at her. Charles cleared his throat at the head of the room. "I've made changes to my will and family trust," he said plainly. Effective immediately. People leaned in. Elena froze. "Due to recent revelations, I'm restructuring how my assets are allocated. The majority ownership of the family foundation, business properties, and estate holdings will pass not to my daughter, but to Miles." You could hear her wine glass clink as it trembled in her hand. "I raised my daughter with values. I see now that she abandoned them the minute it was convenient. Miles, however, has shown integrity beyond what I've ever seen from my own blood." Elena's voice cracked. "You can't be serious." Charles didn't even look at her. "Actions have consequences. This is one of them." I didn't say a word that I didn't need to. The look on her face, humiliation, confusion, panic, said everything. She tried calling me that night. I didn't answer. She showed up at our apartment the next morning, sobbing, begging. I let her in, mostly so the neighbors wouldn't witness a public meltdown. She collapsed on the couch and started talking fast, like if she spoke fast enough, she could erase what she'd done. I was confused. "I was stupid. I didn't mean to hurt you." Then she hit me with the one line I'd waited to hear for weeks. "Jordan doesn't even matter. He was nothing. You were everything." I stayed quiet, calm. Then I pulled out my laptop. I showed her the evidence. The timelines. The financial impact of her affair on our joint accounts. Her Instagram captions alongside hotel receipts. A spreadsheet my lawyer helped me prepare showing how much of my money went toward her business trips. I slid the divorce papers across the table. "You have 7 days to sign," I said. "You don't mean this, Miles." "Elena, you told your friends I was too boring to love. You lied to everyone, your dad, your friends, even yourself. But the truth? The truth took everything back from you." She left in tears. But there were no more apologies that could fix anything. No more lies left to cover her tracks. No more masks to wear. 6 months later, the divorce went through clean. Fast, actually. Charles made sure she didn't drag her feet. Elena moved into a rented condo, a far cry from the family estate she once assumed she'd inherit. Her relationship with Jordan ended within weeks of the fallout. He ghosted her after the money dried up. On the other hand, started over. Quietly. No big celebrations. No revenge posts that I still teach at the university. I still live simply. But now, I own the land my apartment sits on. I manage part of Charles's charity work. And yes, I kept the estate. Not for luxury, but for legacy, because sometimes the people who try to bury you forget you're a seed. Sparkles, if this story hit home, hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? Broken heart. And don't forget to subscribe for more real cheating stories. True accounts of betrayal, justice, and healing. Our stories are real. The names change for privacy, but the heartbreak is always honest.